Good morning and welcome to the launch of Little Heath School's virtual open evening presentation for 2021-2022. So for Year 7 entry for next year, a huge welcome from me. Real apologies for the fact that we're not doing this presentation live on school site. I'm sure you'll understand why we're doing it this way. We did it very successfully this way last year, and while in the future we're really looking forward to having students and parents back on school site for Year 6 open evening in the future, this year with a number of cases locally and with the reduced space on school site because of our building work, we really didn't think that it was the right thing to do, and I'm hopeful that you'll agree with me. And in any case, we want to do a really good job of this presentation. There's a video coming your way that the students have done brilliantly. We're going to run coffee mornings and question and answer sessions. We're going to do all we can to make sure that the process feels as normal as possible. And we want you to be ready to join us as a Little Heath community. That's really what the school is, a family, a community, at quite an exciting time in our development as a school. That's not just about the lovely new building that we've opened last academic year, but lots of other things going on at the school. And we're really looking forward to you hopefully joining us. I'm going to start with a little bit of a summary of what we stand for as a school, our commitment to you as students and your families, your parents. And all the way through, please bear in mind I'm doing this recording live, as it were. We're in one take. So I'm not going to read everything out on every slide. You'll obviously be able to read those at your leisure, but I just want to give you a feel for what the school is like, why we'd love you to join us here. And a sensible starting point, I think, is our ethos and our vision for the future and our commitment to you as students. You're probably sitting here today, relatively wet day in Tilehurst at Little Heath School here. You're probably sitting in a Year 6 classroom, thinking about your work this year, looking forward probably, if it's anything to go by my own children, we're really looking forward to moving up to secondary school, but with some questions to ask about how it will be different from primary school. I'm really lucky to have such fabulous primary school feeders around that bring students to us who are really ready for that step up to secondary school. But our commitment to you as teachers, as a school environment, is really important. What are we going to do? Well, above all, we're going to have high expectations for you, for your learning, for your progress, for your behaviour, for the progress you can make because of having a really good work ethic. We really do try to make sure that every student has the opportunity to achieve high standards in their work. Relationships are really important to us. We're a school where relationships between students, staff, parents are central to our work. And we really don't have a glass ceiling for children. What I mean by that is, we really give every child the opportunity to fulfill their potential, whatever they might have achieved earlier in primary school. And we do that through what we call a growth mindset. I know lots of primary schools talk about growth mindset, and it means an awful lot to us. Really, that you just keep going and going when you're trying to learn something. And if you don't get it the first time, you show resilience. Keep trying until you do learn that concept or that skill. We talk about yet as a word, very simple word, but a really important one. Quite a lot here. You haven't learned that concept yet, but you will soon. And of course, we set up a framework for that to support children with that kind of growth mindset. We provide lots of support. We provide lots of challenge in the classroom, praise and reward, is really central to what we do. We want to celebrate student success, and we find that inclusive and encouraging approach means that students really do get the most out of their education at Little Heath. We all know, as a parent myself, we all know that students really only get one chance at a great education, and we want to provide it for them. So my next slide is really about how that then works in practice on a day-to-day basis, really, with the kind of school that we are. I'm proud to say that we're a very caring school. We're a school where values and character and principles are just as important as what children learn perhaps in the classroom. I'm also quite proud, and it sounds really odd to say that we're a large school with a small school ethos. We're not actually a large school. We're probably a school of slightly above average size, as are many other secondary schools in the local area, but we certainly work hard to reassure children, to reassure parents that we have that small school, community school ethos that's so important. How do we do that? Through great pastoral care. I'm very lucky as a head teacher to have a brilliant head of year team with me working here, and they really do an awful lot of that work with tutors on caring and supporting and nurturing. As I say, strong relationships are at the heart of our work here. I'm delighted to say every single year that we are a school that values what happens outside of the classroom perhaps as much as what happens inside. Now, don't panic. I absolutely know the importance of classroom teaching and getting students the qualifications that they need for their next steps in their life, in their education. But I absolutely believe that experiences outside the classroom, whether that be through clubs, through sport, through drama, through music, or through trips and visits. We're a school where there are lots of opportunities for trips and visits to enhance the curriculum. And I'm delighted that we're back on track with that, with having had, 2 years where some of those opportunities were more difficult. That really is a part of what we do at the school. We have a very successful house system that kind of gives students opportunities for competitive activity, but not just sport, although our sports day is a brilliant day at the end of the year that pulls all of that together. But lots of opportunities for participation in the house competition that continues to go from strength to strength. And I would want you, Year 6, when you come up and join your house at Little Heath, without it feeling a little bit like the sorting hat in Harry Potter, I'd really want your commitment to your house to show throughout those 7 years. That's what happens here, and it's a brilliant way to get involved in lots of new things when you come up. Support isn't just about us as staff. I think that's important to emphasise. We've also got a very strong support network with students supporting each other, whether that be through general day-to-day support, Year 7's looking after you when you come up in Year 6, or something a bit more formal like the Smile team. I have a group of Year 10 students each year who are properly trained in peer support and peer mentoring. That's the Smile team, and they'll be really important even before you start next September with work that they do with you with that transition. They make a massive difference, and I look forward to introducing them to you. We want you to join us as students knowing that we're all together preparing you to be ready for your future, whatever it is. There does come a very simple fact there, though. You are responsible for your own learning when you come up to secondary school, the way you have been at primary school. And the simple fact is those students who come to us with a really strong work ethic and continue to work hard through the 5 or hopefully 7 years that they're with us, end up doing really well. We've seen that this summer in GCSE and A-level results, with very difficult circumstances for those year 11 and 13 students. Those students who worked really hard have done brilliantly well. Alongside that work ethic, we want you to enjoy your learning. We want you to continue to be passionate and to demand strong learning, strong teaching in the classroom. I want you to expect lessons to be exciting and active and challenging. And it might seem a silly thing to say, but we want you to leave us, as I say, after 7 years, with great memories of school. They really are the best years of your life. That's what we're offering to you, I guess, as students. What do we want in return? Hard work, I've already mentioned. A responsibility, I've already mentioned. We want you to be kind to other students, to contribute to that sense of community and be a really valued member of the Little Heath family. We're constantly reinforcing those messages about positive behaviour for learning at the school, because of course that gives you the best chance of success as well as your classmates. The badge means a lot to us, the Little Heath badge, which I'm not sure whether you're aware is actually a print of the photo of the oak tree at the back of school. You'll be aware that we've had a lot of building work. The photo on the screen there, it does not look like that with the building behind it. As I sit here today, the new building is obviously opened, but we absolutely were determined to keep the oak tree at the back of the school. You'll see it when you come on transition, because actually that tree and the badge that's been printed off it almost summarises where we are as a school and what values we have. It's about growth, it's about nurture, it's an oak, so it's stable and promotes a sense of togetherness. And of course, it's at the heart of our school community. So that's a nice way of explaining to you what matters such a lot to me as a head, that pride in your Little Heath badge. You're representing yourself, of course, when you wear our uniform, and your family, but also us as a school community. Next slide really is about what we expect of you as parents, which might seem an odd thing to do in an open evening presentation where we're, encouraging you to join us at the school. But of course it isn't. They say 80% of what children learn takes place outside of the classroom, outside of school, and we all know as parents what a crucial role we play in providing the kind of possibility, the right kind of framework for students to succeed, for our children to succeed. How do we want you to do that? Well, of course, take an interest in your child's education and encourage them to do their best. Support our kind of philosophies, I suggest, such as growth mindset. Don't worry if your child doesn't learn a key concept in maths straight away, but encourage them to adopt that growth mindset until they are really delighted at the point at which they do learn something new. Obviously, to support our approach to behaviour, and we've done an awful lot of work on the homeschool agreement in the last couple of years to make sure that is a sort of summary, excuse me, of what we expect from behaviour and respect in students at the school. We want you to support that. We want you as parents to encourage good study habits right from the off in year 7. And I want to puncture a mythology that was important to me a few years ago when my children went up to year 7. Don't believe that secondary school will be more difficult for you to have that close relationship with teachers and with us as a school compared to primary school. It just won't. You really can get stuck in from the beginning, supporting good study habits, supporting reading at home, and we've got a number of really successful reading programs to make sure that that continues to be a focus in secondary education. We want you to share our aspiration with education here up until sixth form and indeed beyond. We want you to encourage your children to talk to us. I said we're a listening school, we're a caring school. If anything worries them, then really encourage your child to talk to an adult. And that partnership with you is so important. Please contact the school throughout your time as parents with us, but particularly in year 7 next year, an early stage, if there's anything that's worrying you, even before you join us actually in September, if there's anything worrying you about transition up to big school, get in touch with us. I'm sure we can reassure you with whatever your concerns are. So we hope that you're ready to join us. I hope that's given you a bit of a flavour of what kind of school we are, my approach as a head teacher and the staff's approach, what we're offering you as students in year 7 when you join us, and also parents. Now, how will that transition take place? Well, the truth of it is we do an awful lot of transition work before you even arrive in September. We do lots of work with the primary schools. And I know that parents and students are always concerned about how we construct tutor groups and making sure that you feel at home from day one. Well, a lot of that work takes place before you even arrive. And the primary schools are fabulous at talking to us about that. We'll arrange transition visits, hopefully live. We're all hoping that as the term moves on, we get back to some sense of normal after the 2 difficult years that we've all experienced. So transition visits next summer, if you're offered a place at Little Heath, and taster lessons, we're really looking forward to that. There will be some team building on a transition day. So what we usually do, and we're planning to do for next year, certain primary schools will come on certain days for their individual transition visits, but then there's an overall transition day when all of the year 7 students that are going to join us in September will come to Little Heath for a whole day, and we'll do lots of team building there. That's a brilliant day next summer. Now, we've had to adapt all of that because of COVID, but what we have done in moving back, hopefully next summer, to be able to do those things live, we have kept some of the things that have been really successful over the last couple of years. For example, the welcome videos, for example, coffee mornings on Teams. Microsoft Teams is now central to our work as a school. I love it. We also ran a summer school to try and help students to close some gaps in their learning over the summer before they joined us in year 7, and also get to know us and get to know the school. That worked really successfully. So we'll almost certainly do the same again next year. So in short, we try to make the transition up to secondary school as smooth as possible, even before you arrive. And once you join us, we kind of put some of that into more direct practice. I always say to students, I want you to feel like you already belong at the school when you arrive on the first day, because you know your tutor, you've met your members of your tutor group, you know lots of teachers, you know how the place works geographically. Our philosophy for that is really old friends and new friends. We'll make sure that you've got some people that you know from your primary school, hopefully in your tutor group or around you, but we'll also, through those transition events, make sure that you make new friends. And I would guess, if the last 5 or 6 years have been anything to go by when we've been running those transition events, those new friends you make when you come up to us will end up being friends for the whole of your time with us, maybe friends for life. I think it's important for a head teacher like me to say to you that there's an opportunity for you to have a fresh start coming up from primary school. Now, I repeat, I've got fabulous feeder primary schools. You will be brilliantly prepped for coming up to secondary education. So it's not like we ignore all of that. We will build on what primary schools do. But you start with us at the start of year 7. We don't want you to feel like on the first day of term, a primary school has disappeared and you're now almost year 1 again. You are year 7. You're building on what you did in year 6. But if you haven't worked maybe hard enough, or there are things that you want to do differently, things that you want to get involved in that you've never got involved in before, like sports or other things, you can do that. It's the best combination of building on success from primary school and a fresh start in secondary school. And we'll make sure that we do a lot of orientation in September, so you really know your way around. Lots of what we do once you join us is about support from the pastoral team. I've already mentioned head of year and tutor, but my inclusion team is also very strong and will help you with that step up to big school. I've mentioned the year 10 Smile Mentors. Year 7 and 8 will support you. And in summary, we'll make a big fuss of you coming up to secondary school because you're the most important person on that day. And we want to make it really exciting for you. Very quickly, just change tack slightly. I wanted to share some slides with you, some photographs, excuse me, of summer results days just gone from August. First A level, year 13 were incredibly successful this summer because they took every opportunity that we gave to those students with a lot of assessments and a different approach without final exams to their work at the end of the year. But they were absolutely delighted to get success on results day. We were able to celebrate it on school site, which was brilliant. The vast majority of students, if not all actually, got their first or second choice of university. A number of students went on to really exciting work placements and apprenticeships. It was a brilliant day. You might think to yourself, year 6, well, 7 years away, but it's really important to us as a school that you look at those sixth form students as role models, because that will be you sooner than you think. And similarly, GCSE was a really successful day for us. Year 11 students have been really proud of what they've achieved in difficult circumstance, and obviously in a lot of cases moving on to A-level or further study, many of them with us and others moving on to Reading College or other places to do the course that was right for them. It was a brilliant day, and we were delighted to celebrate student success. I can't let the presentation go without mentioning the new building. I'm sat here in my office. We are absolutely delighted with the building that we have got, which, as the slide previously said, is absolutely what Little Heath students deserve. I just want to give you a bit of a flavour today. You'll obviously be able to have a look at the building when we do, hopefully, visits properly later in the year. The video that's coming your way absolutely shows off the building brilliantly, and the students have been really excited about it. They've been excited about the communal spaces that they've been provided with in the building, whether that be a canteen that has become very quickly a kind of social hub at lunchtimes. We just didn't have that in the past. They're excited about the library. Our hall is really a theatre space, and we're looking forward to being able to run concerts, music performances, drama, assemblies in there very, very soon, because it's a really special venue. We're really lucky to have it. So they're excited about communal spaces. They're also excited, they might not tell you, but they are, about the classroom spaces. We have housed English, IT and technology and PE and sport within the block, and that was absolutely the right thing to do. The technology department particularly were spread quite a bit around the old school site, and now are in a suite of rooms, textiles rooms, woodwork, metalwork, food rooms, IT facilities that are state of the art. They really are, and the students are really excited about having them. The IT rooms are excellent, and we've got a number of general teaching rooms that the English department are using as well. So lots of positive response to that. There's also a photo of our lovely changing rooms. There's an activity studio as well. Lots of excitement about the new building. And that sort of gives you a bit of an overview. Anybody who's driven past the school, or those of you who've got siblings here, will know that the demolition is still ongoing. The old A block took a little while before that demolition started, but then has been knocked down, my office included, very, very quickly actually, and now they're working on the groundwork. So by the time you arrive in September, you'll really get a feel for that landscaping that gives a much better frontage to the school, helps with a single point of entry. There'll be lots more space to sit with outside dining and table tennis tables, and it just will be a brilliant frontage. And that kind of over bird's eye view gives you a bit of a look at what that will look like in September. This is the really important bit because I've got to talk through the application process in a little bit of detail, but of course you can look back at these slides which will be made available, including on the website. You can look at them in your leisure, but the application process is very important, obviously. We've got some online documents to support it. On our website, there's an online prospectus that you can open or download, and hopefully that will give a bit more information, a bit more detail about the sorts of things I mentioned at the start of the presentation, the kind of school that we are, our vision, our ethos, and what we can offer you. There's a Key Stage 3 curriculum booklet alongside that, which I would recommend you have a look at. Because it fleshes out the curriculum in a bit more detail, particularly the emphasis that I mentioned on reading and writing and those basic skills that underpin the curriculum. So have a look at some of those documents. The admissions criteria for September 22 have not changed. They haven't changed from previous years. So we still have as number one children with EHCPs. Education and healthcare plans, that's the old sort of statements, and looked after children, and then catchment area and so on. We still keep in our admission policy partner primaries, because those relationships with local partner primaries have been so important to us for a long period of time that we keep them in the policy. But that doesn't mean that it's a closed book in that regard. Every year, and I'll show you in a second, we have students from other primary schools, an increasing number actually over the last 2 or 3 years. So it isn't at all that you have to be in a partner primary to get a place at Little Heath, not at all. We continue to be as open to applications from students from around the local area as we have been in the past. Those are the general principles. I'll just quickly go over West Berkshire's admissions policy. The applications have to be received by the 31st of October and are done online. Of course, we would recommend putting Little Heath as a first preference, but the local authority would say that you choose which school you want, and that doesn't mean you won't get us if you put us as second preference. I do know that you're fortunate to have a number of secondary schools in the local area. Of course, I will say to you that I think ours is the best, but there's strong secondary schools around here, so you make the choice and do the preferences accordingly. There's a number and a website, an email address, sorry, on there for you for reference. and the date of the offers to parents is next March, the 1st of March. I've put on Reading admissions policy because it's very similar, but there are a few differences. The numbers are different, and the way that they operate on the admissions policy is slightly different. The dates this year are the same, so you won't get confused with that, as sometimes has been the case. And I just thought I'd pop on our numbers of admissions over the last 5 years, so 2017 onwards, only really for your benefit, your information as parents, really. It just shows you the pattern over the last few years. We've been oversubscribed as a school for all 5 of those years, as you can see. Our number on roll is usually 260 and has become 270, 275 over the last few years. You can see the breakdown there, lots of students getting in on catchment and siblings as well, which continues to be really important to us. But you can see that partner primaries and others have very strong numbers, somewhere around 40 usually or higher, and that's a track record over a longer period of time. So that kind of reinforces what I said to you earlier. The 2019 was a really odd year because it was a high birth year and a number of students came in the catchment area, as you can see, so the other categories a little bit lower, but we still gave lots of places to students from other primary schools, not just partner. If you've got any questions either about the admissions policies or about our numbers and the likelihood of you getting a place here, which is very high, I think. I can't guarantee anything, of course, because West Berkshire run the admissions process, not us as a school, but I think things are in your favour. I'm clearly 1 minute over, which is a bit embarrassing. You can hear the bell for the next lesson, which I've been determined to time myself so that I finish before that. I must be going over by 1 minute, so I will come to a close really with a final statement to you. We would love you to join us at Little Heath next year. You really have a future ahead of you in moving up to secondary education that you can make your own and do what you want to with it. We want you to be ready to join us and ready to push yourself on at Key Stage 3 at secondary level and take every opportunity that we give you. We're excited about you joining us. We know that we're a strong school, but we want to continue to work with you and your parents. Each year, my aim is to just make the school that little bit better and push it forward. And we've got some really exciting things going on with teaching and learning, with the curriculum, with activities outside of the classroom. And we're delighted to be getting back on track with more of a normal experience. They might not tell me to my face, but I think Little Heath students have missed school when they've not been in school. I'm sure you have, Year 6, missed those routines and that excitement of being in school, and of course being around your friends. And we'd love you to join us at what we think is quite an exciting time in the school's development. Please get in touch if you have any worries. We are going to run a series of coffee mornings on Teams, which we did this summer very successfully, and the dates are on screen. We're going to start with Springfield, Moorlands and Kennet Valley. Just an opportunity for you to ask myself and my deputy, Kaylee Button, who I think is going to join us, any questions that you've got, your parents, this is, about the transition up to Little Heath or about secondary education or about the school in general. There are the dates, or more information will come your way. And as it says at the bottom, please, if you've got any concerns, get in touch with us. There's no such thing as a silly question. That's the end from me. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.